What is the Durbin Amendment and what does it mean for your business? You might have seen a news report or something about the Durbin Amendment and the regulation that the government came down to banks with check cards, but you might not fully understand how that impacts your business, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. TransactionExpert.com is the leader in transaction services. We build your online presence and point of sale system to integrate with each other. If you are ready to understand and control the entire customer experience, visit TransactionExpert.com. So what is the Durbin Amendment and how does it actually affect your business? Well, let's start with answering the question of what is the Durbin Amendment. The Durbin Amendment is simply this. The federal government came in and they actually regulated and said the banks can only charge a certain amount for processing a check card transaction. Now, why did this even start? Well, if you really want to know kind of the dirty details of how the Durbin Amendment came about, it was actually from mainly lobbying on the part of Walmart and Target, because Walmart and Target run, billions of dollars in transactions every single year, and a lot of those transactions are using check cards. People just use their bank card to spend, $50 at Walmart or $150 at Walmart. And Walmart was paying all of this money to the banks in interchange fees, like we talked about in our How Much Should Your Interchange Fees Be, that video. You can go back and look at that. And so they wanted to reduce that, so they really lobbied hard and said, look, the banks are taking advantage of us. We need to lower the fees on these check card transactions because it's really not that expensive to process them. So the government complied and they created the Durbin Amendment. And the Durbin Amendment regulated and said the banks can only charge this much money. It was 22 cent per item fee, like we talked about in the other video on interchange fees, 22 cent per item fee plus a 0.05%, which is a lot lower. It used to be 1% or 1.2% or whatever. It used to be a lot higher than that. So now that's what the Durbin Amendment is, but let's talk about how it affects your business. Let me explain the two problems with the Durbin Amendment that were blatantly obvious to everybody in the credit card processing industry. In fact, I would be willing to bet that when Congress created the Durbin Amendment and put it into place, they really didn't talk to very many experts in the merchant services industry because there was two huge problems with it. It was designed to lower the cost for business owners, and it did do that for some business owners, which we'll talk about in a second. But there's two big problems with it. The first problem is it's terrible for small ticket size merchants. If you're a coffee shop, a pizza shop, you have a store that sells, hot dogs, that kind of thing, where your average ticket size is less than $10, you really got screwed with the Durbin Amendment. It's not a good thing for you because it took the per item fees, like the fixed cost on each transaction that you're going to pay regardless of how big it is. It took that way up. It used to be at 10 cents. Now it's at 22 cents. So it basically doubled your cost to run a check card transaction if you have a small ticket size business. All right. Now, on the flip side, if your business has a transaction size on average of about $30 or more, it did save you money. In other words, it is cheaper to run a transaction using a check card with the Durbin Amendment than without the Durbin Amendment, as long as your average ticket size is above about $30, okay? Now, here's the other big problem with it though. The other big problem is it did not regulate what the credit card processing companies could charge to small business owners. Okay? So when Walmart and Target went in guns blazing and they're spending millions of dollars to lobby for this law, they don't care about small businesses. They want you to go out of business, right? Because they want all the business themselves. And so they didn't really care about small business. And Walmart and Target, they pay interchange fees directly to the banks. There is no credit card processing company in the middle. And so if the banks reduce their cost of running a check card, that directly impacts Walmart and that directly impacts Target. It just basically lowers the cost for them. However, for small businesses, you don't deal directly with the banks and you don't deal directly with Visa and MasterCard. If you're a small business, you're doing less than $1 million a month in processing volume, you have to go through a credit card processing company. And the Durbin Amendment in no way affected credit card processing companies and their requirement to pass these savings on. Instead, what it did was it just simply inflated the profits for the credit card processing companies. So all the credit card processing companies started making a lot more money because if they didn't reduce their rates, their cost went down. So if they didn't reduce their price or their rates and their cost went down, there's a lot more profit in there for them, which they loved, okay? Now, in all fairness, most credit card processing companies have passed through a lot of these savings to you, but if you have not received a cost analysis on your credit card statement within the last couple of years, or even the last 12 months, it's time to get a cost analysis done because you really need to have one done. Because again, it's possible that your credit card processing company got all this reduced cost and they didn't do anything with it. They didn't pass it on to you. They just kept those as profits. And so what the Durbin Amendment means for your business is two things, okay? If you're a low ticket size business, it means that your cost probably went up substantially a couple years ago, and you may have been wondering why. Maybe you've even tried to switch to another processing company. Transaction Expert would be glad to give you a free cost analysis to see what we can do, but your costs are going to be a little higher if you're a low ticket size business as a result of this regulation. If you're a large ticket size business, your costs should have decreased significantly by like 20-30%. If they haven't, or if you haven't got a cost analysis done in a couple of years, click the link below this video. You can go to transactionexpert.com/analysis and you can actually get a free cost analysis done, no charge to you. We'll actually have a local transaction expert in your area come out and present a cost analysis to you, help you understand your statement better, and show you how we can save you money because of the Durbin Amendment.